Ever wondered what really goes into designing an experience that doesn't just, teach you something, but actually changes you?
Yeah, something truly transformative.
Exactly. Today on the deep dive, we're dissecting exactly that. We're cracking open the brilliant architecture of this 5-hour English language program called Quit Your Comfort Zone.
Hmm.
And we want to reveal the hidden genius behind how you construct truly transformative learning.
And it's fascinating because, this isn't just about learning English, is it?
Not at all. It feels more like a blueprint for unlocking your potential, really. We're going to unpack every single layer of this incredibly detailed program.
Looking at the strategic choices, the pedagogy behind it.
Yes, and understanding why each bit, each component is absolutely crucial for holistic learning and, genuine personal growth. Let's start this deep dive.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is that while the obvious goal is English acquisition, this program is actually a profound masterclass in instructional design itself.
Right. How to teach something complex.
Exactly. It highlights how a complex, often kind of abstract topic like personal growth, challenging yourself, how that can be systematically broken down, taught, and actually absorbed by learners.
It's not just theory.
No, the creators have meticulously woven together the language learning part with some really powerful psychological reinforcement. It's quite something.
So they've crafted this robust, immersive experience.
Yeah, one that guides the learner not just through new words, but through a genuine shift in mindset, in capability. It's the intentionality of the design.
That careful sequencing and layering.
That's what really sets it apart, I think.
And what really struck me as we were prepping for this is how universally applicable these principles are. Even if you're not sitting down to learn English, this blend of theory, practice, mindset cultivation, and context, it offers incredibly valuable lessons for any learning journey you might be on.
Absolutely. It's about effective learning, full stop.
Yeah. This is kind of your shortcut to understanding how to gain knowledge quickly, but also thoroughly. How to get those aha moments.
And maybe just as important, how to avoid that feeling of being swamped, that information overload.
Right, in whatever you're trying to learn. So, what does this all mean for unlocking your own potential? For stepping outside your own comfort zone, whatever that looks like for you?
Oh, that's what we're here to explore.
Laying the foundational bricks, the linguistic toolkit for growth.
Okay, so let's start by digging into the foundational linguistic toolkit this program actually builds for the learner.
Makes sense. The building blocks.
And the very first component, naturally, is vocabulary. The program aims to help learners build a strong vocabulary bank. I think it's over 50 new words.
Right.
But it's not just a random list dumped on you. It's presented as a strategic ladder, carefully categorized into basic, intermediate, and advanced tiers.
That tiered approach.
Yeah, why do that? It seems kind of intuitive maybe, but what's the deeper pedagogical reason behind structuring it like that?
Well, this tiered approach, it's not just a neat way to organize words.
Yeah.
It really embodies a critical principle in learning design called scaffolding.
Scaffolding, like when you're building something.
Exactly like that. Imagine building a house. You lay a solid foundation, right? Then you put up the walls and finally the roof. You don't start with the chimney.
No, probably not.
So similarly, in learning, scaffolding means providing just enough support and then progressively increasing the complexity, step by step.
Okay, so you're always challenged, but not completely lost.
Precisely. It ensures learners are consistently challenged, but never overwhelmed. It makes the journey feel achievable, and it builds their confidence layer by layer. That's how real mastery is built.
Whether it's English or coding or learning guitar.
Anything complex, yeah. So the basic words here, things like fear, courage, change, growth, comfort, success, they act as the initial, easily digestible anchors.
Got it. They establish that shared understanding right away.
Yes, a fundamental understanding of the whole comfort zone theme right from the start. It builds immediate learner confidence, and crucially, it reduces the cognitive load. Less brain power needed just to get started.
That makes perfect sense. So, okay, once a learner feels secure with those basic concepts, they're ready for the next step up the ladder.
Exactly. They're ready to climb to the next rung. As they gain confidence with these fundamental terms, then they can tackle the more nuanced concepts.
Which brings us to the intermediate words.
Right. Words like determination, resilience, hesitation, maybe opportunity, adventure, breakthrough, mindset, routine. These allow for a much more sophisticated, more detailed expression.
So you can talk about the internal stuff, the external stuff.
Yes, about the experiences related to pushing boundaries. You're not just saying, I feel bad. You can articulate, I feel hesitation, or I need determination.
That's a big jump in how you can express yourself and probably how you think about it, too.
It's a significant leap in expressive power, absolutely, and in conceptual understanding.
And then the advanced terms. These must unlock even deeper levels of discussion.
Absolutely. The advanced terms, we're talking words like perseverance, transformation, vulnerability, adaptability, maybe innovation, achievement, ambition.
Okay, yeah, those are definitely more complex.
They aren't just bigger words, though. They unlock the ability for a much more nuanced, a more profound discussion about the really intricate psychological and practical sides of personal growth.
So you can really articulate the whole journey.
The whole journey, exactly. From that first spark of ambition right through to the profound transformation that can happen. This multi-tiered structure, it really supports learners at various levels.
So everyone gets something out of it, regardless of where they start.
Right. They can continually expand their linguistic and their conceptual grasp in a way that respects their individual learning curve. And crucially, it prevents them feeling overwhelmed by too much new stuff all at once.
Okay, and the teaching method for these words sounds really active, too. They introduce each word slowly, use it in maybe one or two example sentences, give listeners time to repeat it out loud, and then this sounds key. There's a quick recall drill after every 10 words.
Ah, yes. The recall drill.
What's the significance of that active recall part? From a learning science perspective, why is that so powerful?
Well, that active recall, especially the quick drill format, it's not just a nice add-on, it's a highly effective cognitive strategy. Basically, it forces your brain to retrieve the information from memory.
Rather than just seeing it again.
Exactly, not just rereading or re-listening. This active retrieval of pulling it out, it strengthens the neural pathways. It solidifies the memory much more effectively than passive review.
Okay, so it's like exercising a memory muscle.
That's a great analogy. It's known as retrieval practice, and it's really a cornerstone of effective learning across any field. The more you exercise that muscle by pulling information out, the stronger that connection becomes.
So for you, the listener, when you're tackling new terminology in any field, this suggests a really practical approach.
Definitely. Break down those big new lexicons into manageable chunks or tiers. Build progressively and critically, actively test your recall often. Don't just consume the information.
Actively retrieve it. Pull it out.
Exactly.
Okay, so building on that vocabulary foundation, the program then layers in over 15 idioms and phrases.
Ah, the idioms. Essential for sounding natural.
Yeah, they're highlighted as making English sound natural and expressive. But how do these contribute to a deeper understanding, especially with this theme of quitting your comfort zone? Are they just decoration?
Oh, far from it. What's really fascinating here is that these idioms, they aren't just linguistic tools, they are vital for authentic communication, and they actually encapsulate the very theme of the program itself.
How so?
Think about idioms like step out of your comfort zone, face your fears, take the leap, maybe push your limits, test the waters, nothing ventured, nothing gained, or feel the fear and do it anyway.
Right, they're like little packets of meaning for the core idea.
Exactly. They're powerful conceptual shorthand. They convey complex ideas and emotions really concisely, often with a kind of cultural resonance that a direct, literal translation just misses.
And that concise nature probably helps you remember them, too.
It definitely aids memory, and it adds emotional resonance, makes them incredibly impactful. They're like the linguistic and cultural DNA of this whole quitting your comfort zone theme.
Giving you immediate access to how these ideas are expressed naturally.
Precisely.
And the teaching method here also seems to build from just understanding to actually using them.
Yeah, that progression is key.
They introduce the idiom, explain its meaning simply, give a short real-life example, ask listeners to repeat. And then they have them shadow the idiom in a full sentence. That shadowing part, in particular, sounds really important for getting the delivery right, making it sound natural.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Because it moves you beyond just understanding the meaning to actually producing the idiom with the correct rhythm, the right intonation.
So what exactly is shadowing for people who haven't encountered it?
Shadowing involves listening to a native speaker and then immediately trying to mimic their pronunciation, their intonation, their rhythm, like a shadow following them.
Ah, okay. Almost talking along with them.
Pretty much. It's a powerful way to train your mouth muscles, your articulatory muscles, and your auditory processing system. It kind of bypasses conscious translation.
And builds those direct connections for speaking.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these idiomatic expressions, they also offer a window into cultural attitudes, don't they, towards risk-taking, personal growth.
How do I mean?
Well, a phrase like no pain, no gain, for instance, that speaks volumes about a cultural emphasis on effort and endurance, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas maybe take the leap embodies a certain adventurous spirit, perhaps. Understanding these doesn't just help with the language.
It gives you insight into how different societies frame challenges.
And perseverance, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes the language lesson also a bit of a cultural one, which is really rich.
Next up in the toolkit, phrasal verbs. The program includes, I think, 5 to 7 of these, described as essential for fluency and everyday English.
Phrasal verbs. The bane and blessing of English learners.
Yeah, anyone who's tried to learn English knows these can be incredibly tricky, yet you hear them all the time. They seem absolutely vital.
They really are.
What makes them so critical, especially for a topic like personal growth and change? Why focus on these?
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it? Why are they so critical here? It's because they are just everywhere in daily conversation, and they often carry these nuanced meanings that a single verb might not fully capture.
Right, like they add a layer of meaning.
Exactly. Think about how much ground you cover with something like step up, meaning, take responsibility, or break through, overcome an obstacle.
Okay, yeah, or carry on.
Meaning continue despite difficulties. Take on, accept a challenge. Even negative ones like back down, give up, or move forward, continue progress.
Wow, yeah, those are all totally relevant to leaving your comfort zone.
They're the real workhorses for describing actions, progress, shifts in state, especially when you're navigating challenges and change. And their meaning often depends heavily on context.
Which makes that direct, practical instruction really important.
Absolutely vital for real-world use. Without them, your communication can sound quite stiff, maybe unnatural, bookish even.
The practice methods here sound really good too. Teaching the meaning plus an example sentence.
Standard start.
But then practicing them in short role plays with these characters, Jack and Emily.
The role plays, yes.
And then asking learners to repeat and use them in their own sentences. That immediate application in a little scenario must really help make them stick, right? Beyond just memorizing a list.
Oh, absolutely. Those role plays, even short ones, are just a brilliant way to shift the learning from passive reception, just taking it in.
To active production,
Yeah.
actually using it.
Exactly. This is where the learner starts to internalize the structure, internalize the verb, and begins to use it more spontaneously. It's a really effective bridge from what we call declarative knowledge.
Knowing the rule or the definition.
Right. To procedural knowledge, being able to just use it automatically, fluently, in a conversation.
That kind of active simulated practice seems crucial for developing real conversational fluency.
It absolutely is. So, okay. These linguistic building blocks, the vocabulary, idioms, phrasal verbs, they're meticulously laid out, giving the learner a really robust toolkit.
Right.
But language, like any complex skill really, it truly comes alive when you put it into action, when it serves a purpose.
When it connects to something meaningful.
Yes. And that brings us nicely to the practical grammatical structures that kind of help tie it all together.
And what about grammar? Now, the program wisely avoids what it calls heavy grammar.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Instead, it focuses on just 2 or 3 mini lessons on practical, high-impact structures. This sounds so much more learner-friendly than getting bogged down in, endless abstract rules.
It really is.
What's the genius behind this selective focus? Why just pick a couple?
It's an incredibly wise and learner-centric approach, absolutely. Overwhelming learners with abstract grammar rules, especially when they're divorced from any real context, can often be really counterproductive.
Yeah, it can just make you want to give up.
Exactly. It leads to frustration. So by focusing on these really practical structures, the program directly links the grammar to the main theme, quitting your comfort zone.
Making it immediately relevant.
Yeah.
Actionable.
Right. So, for example, the first mini lesson is on used to versus want to try.
Okay.
So when you formulate a sentence like, I used to stay in my comfort zone, but now I want to try new things, well, you're directly articulating the core transition the whole program is about.
I see. It's perfectly matched to the theme.
It's a perfect fit for the core message, and it gives learners an immediate tool for expressing where they are and where they want to go.
That makes so much sense. Okay, and then they move on to modal verbs, like can, could, should, and might.
The modals of possibility and ability.
Phrases like, I can do this, or I should try new experiences, or maybe it might be difficult, but it's worth it. These are all about building confidence, exploring possibilities. Again, so central to the comfort zone theme, aren't they?
Exactly. Modal verbs are absolutely essential for expressing ability, giving advice, talking about probability, all key things when you're facing new challenges and making decisions about them.
Right.
The program also includes an optional bit on the present continuous for action.
As in?
As in, I am stepping out of my comfort zone, or I am learning something new.
Ah, okay. Emphasizing the ongoing process.
Yes. It reinforces that idea of ongoing effort, continuous growth. It emphasizes the journey, not just the destination, and the practice methods they use.
Like the slow English practice sentences and the repetition drills for fluency.
Those are expertly designed to build automaticity.
Meaning
Learners get to the point where they don't have to consciously think about the grammar rules. They just use them automatically.
Okay, so that frees up brain space for the actual communication.
Precisely. It frees up cognitive resources for the message itself.
You know, this approach really raises an important question for any learner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you're learning any new skill, how can you prioritize that practical application of concepts over just, exhaustive theoretical knowledge? If you want to accelerate your progress, this grammar strategy certainly seems to lean into that idea.
It really demonstrates the power of just-in-time learning and also situated cognition.
Okay, break those down a bit.
Well, you acquire the grammatical tool precisely when you need it to articulate a specific idea within the context of the larger theme.
Right. Ah, okay. So you learn it because you immediately have a use for it.
Exactly. This ensures the grammar isn't just understood academically like a rule in a book, but functionally in real-world communicative scenarios. It means you're building a usable skill set right away.
Instead of getting lost in abstract rules that might not feel relevant for months.
Right. It's a powerful lesson for any field where practical application is the real goal.
And finally, rounding out this linguistic toolkit, we have pronunciation and intonation.
Crucial for being understood and for confidence.
Yeah, the program rightly emphasizes that clear pronunciation boosts confidence, which is vital when you're already feeling vulnerable just by speaking a new language, right?
Absolutely.
They focus on things like stress on motivational words, rising intonation for questions, falling intonation for statements. Pretty specific.
And this aspect, it goes far beyond just being correct. It's really about conveying meaning and emotion effectively. Think about it. When you stress words like courage or success or challenge.
Gives them more weight.
More impact.
It amplifies their impact, conveys a sense of conviction. And correct intonation, yes, it helps avoid misunderstandings, obviously. But just as important, it projects confidence, engagement, even enthusiasm.
Which is key if you're trying to push past fear. For anyone stepping out of a comfort zone, whether it's in language or, frankly, in life, clear, confident communication under pressure is absolutely key. It's about being understood, yes, but also about influencing. And crucially, about believing in what you're saying and how you say it.
So it taps into the emotional side of learning, too.
It directly impacts the affective domain of learning how the learner feels, how they perceive their own capabilities.
And the teaching method here sounds incredibly effective as well. Shadowing full sentences.
More shadowing.
And specific drills where you repeat sentences like, I can do this, and I will face my fears 3 times, slow, medium, and then natural speed.
Yes, that graduated speed approach.
That direct training of the mouth and the ear for natural speech sounds really powerful.
It really is, and this method is a cornerstone of fluency development. Shadowing, as we've said, is often hailed as one of the most effective techniques because it trains your articulatory muscles and your auditory system to mimic native speech patterns almost subconsciously.
You start sounding more natural without overthinking it.
Exactly. And the repetition at varying speeds ensures you can produce the sentence both deliberately when you're thinking about it and automatically building that muscle memory for speech. It helps you internalize the music of the language.
Not just the individual notes. I like that.
Yeah. So, okay. We've covered the mechanics, haven't we? The words, the phrases, the grammar, how you actually deliver them.
The nuts and bolts.
Right. But truly, language, like any skill, it really comes alive when it's applied, when it's connected to a bigger picture, a purpose.
Which brings us to how this program creates that context, right? How it makes it all stick.
The heart of the journey: context, practice, and mindset.
Okay, so we've meticulously laid out all those linguistic building blocks. But as you just said, language isn't learned in a vacuum, is it?
Not effectively, no.
So how does this program actually bring these elements to life and make them resonate? Well, it seems to do it primarily through storytelling.
Ah, yes, the narrative core.
The heart of this program is described as a motivational story about a character named Jack quitting his comfort zone. I mean, that makes sense. We're kind of hardwired for stories, aren't we?
We absolutely are. Our brains remember narratives far better than abstract lists or rules.
So what is it about this story structure that's so effective here?
Well, what stands out is the profound effectiveness of a clear narrative arc. You have Jack living his safe, routine life.
Relatable for many, probably.
Very relatable. Then he decides to try something new. Maybe it's public speaking, maybe solo travel, maybe joining a fitness club, whatever the example is.
Right, that challenge.
Then he faces the fear, the doubts, the inevitable setbacks. There's another character, Emily, who supports him. And ultimately, hopefully, he succeeds and feels transformed.
Okay, so it mirrors a real journey.
It's a deeply relatable human experience. And what it does is it anchors those abstract language concepts we talked about, like courage or perseverance, in a tangible emotional journey.
Making them less abstract, more real.
It makes learning experiential, emotionally resonant, in a way that isolated vocabulary lists just could never achieve. The story itself becomes a kind of compelling blueprint for overcoming personal challenges.
And provides a strong emotional hook.
Definitely. Enhances memory, enhances motivation. It's really the difference between, say, learning about gravity from a textbook description.
Versus watching an apple actually fall from a tree.
Precisely. One is abstract, the other is an experience.
And the teaching method here cleverly integrates all those linguistic bits we just discussed. It weaves them in.
The story is narrated slowly, with pauses for listeners to shadow sentences. And after each chapter, they review the key words and idioms that came up.
Yeah.
So you're not just passively listening to a story, you're actively engaging with the language within that compelling narrative. You're seeing it in action.
And that integration is absolutely critical. It ensures that the vocabulary, the idioms, the grammar, they're not learned in isolation. They're contextualized, they're reinforced within a meaningful story.
It's like learning on the job almost. It's a prime example of what educators call situated learning, where knowledge is acquired and used in contexts that mirror how you'd actually use it in the real world.
So if we zoom out, how does this highlight the power of narrative in general for communicating complex ideas or inspiring action, even beyond language learning?
Well, it shows that stories provide that crucial emotional hook, doesn't it? Making information more memorable, more relatable, and frankly, far more inspiring.
Yeah, you connect with the character.
You connect. They allow the learner to kind of project themselves into the experience, which fosters deeper engagement and, importantly, intrinsic motivation, wanting to learn for its own sake, to learn and apply the material.
Okay, so storytelling is huge.
Yeah.
But beyond just the narrative, the program uses a lot of active engagement and reinforcement techniques.
Yes, which are critical for really embedding any new skill, making it stick.
This includes things like listening comprehension quizzes, interactive role-play dialogues, and, again, lots of shadowing. Let's take the quizzes first. They're described as keeping learners active and checking understanding. What makes a simple quiz so effective for learning?
Well, these regular checks, they're vital for what we call formative assessment. It's assessment for learning, not just of learning.
Okay.
By asking, say, 5 to 10 questions after each story segment, maybe mixing multiple choice, short answers, true, false, the program ensures that knowledge isn't just being passively consumed.
You have to actively process it.
You have to actively process it, retrieve it, and retain it. These quizzes aren't just tests for getting a grade. They are powerful learning opportunities in themselves.
Yeah, so?
Because they trigger that retrieval practice we talked about earlier, forcing the brain to recall information, which, as we said, significantly strengthens those memory traces.
Right, pulling it out makes it stronger.
Yeah, exactly. And they also provide immediate feedback, so learners can quickly identify any gaps in their understanding, reinforce what they did get right, and effectively close that learning loop.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there are the role-play dialogues, which sound incredibly interactive.
Yeah, these are great.
Learners get to practice with the characters, Jack and Emily, in different scenarios, buying a ticket, asking for advice, sharing how they're feeling. This must really shift the learning from just receiving information.
To actually producing language, yes.
This is where the rubber really meets the road, right?
Absolutely. This is precisely where those aha moments, where things click, truly happen. By assigning the listener to play Jack first, then maybe Emily.
So you practice both sides.
Yes. And having them repeat each role slowly. Then at a natural speed, the program simulates real-life conversation pretty effectively.
Building that conversational fluency.
And the confidence to actually apply those learned phrases in dynamic, interactive situations. It's the critical step from knowing about the language, that declarative knowledge.
To actually being able to use the language automatically, the procedural knowledge.
Exactly. This active experiential practice is what builds genuine fluency and really reduces that hesitation you feel in real-world conversations.
And the shadowing and fluency drills, they're described, again, as the most powerful tool for natural English.
Yeah.
We touched on shadowing before. But here it's about shadowing entire paragraphs, first slow, then at natural speed. That must be incredibly effective for overall fluency, rhythm, intonation.
It is arguably one of the most effective techniques for language acquisition, particularly for pronunciation and fluency, because it trains your mouth and your brain to produce that natural English rhythm, intonation, pronunciation.
Without the extra brain power needed to come up with the sentences yourself.
Exactly. Without the added cognitive load of generating new sentences from scratch. It's not just repeating individual words, it's mimicking the flow, the pace, the melodic contours, the music, as we said, of a native speaker.
Which significantly boosts fluency.
Boosts fluency, reduces hesitation, and improves how well others understand you, your comprehensibility. It helps learners kind of bypass that conscious translation process in their heads.
And builds more direct link between thought and actually speaking.
Precisely. So maybe consider this for yourself. How can you integrate these active learning techniques, maybe quizzing yourself regularly, role-playing scenarios in your head or out loud, or shadowing experts in your field into your own learning process for any new skill?
Whether it's public speaking, coding, even mastering a new recipe.
Yeah. This program really provides a clear blueprint you could adapt.
Okay, so beyond the core language practice, the program also intelligently integrates two other key elements. Cultural insights and motivational affirmations.
Broadening the scope.
Let's talk about the cultural insights first. This part aims to broaden perspective, offering examples of how different cultures might view risk-taking, or popular activities that push people out of comfort zones, even phrases used in motivational speeches in different places. Why is it so crucial to weave that cultural context into language learning, especially for a topic like this one?
Well, language and culture are they're inextricably intertwined, aren't they? You can't really separate them completely.
Right. Language exists within a culture.
Exactly. So understanding cultural nuances around things like comfort zones, risk-taking, how people encourage each other, it enriches the learning experience immensely. It shows that, okay, personal growth is a universal human concept, sure.
But how it's expressed, how society views it, can vary a lot.
Hugely. For example, how different societies encourage or perhaps discourage risk-taking, or how they define success and failure. Understanding that adds this fascinating layer beyond just the words themselves.
So it shows that learning a language isn't just grammar and vocab.
It's about understanding a new worldview, or at least different perspectives. And this added depth makes the learning far more engaging, more meaningful, and ultimately more applicable to real-world interactions with diverse people.
And then to really kind of bolster the learner's mindset, they close sessions with positivity using motivational affirmations.
Yes, the affirmation.
Phrases like, I am confident, I can face my fears, I am growing every day, I believe in myself. These aren't just feel-good statements, are they? They're strategically repeated, with pauses for shadowing.
Right. And this acknowledges the vital psychological aspect of stepping out of a comfort zone. Let's face it, when you're pushing your boundaries, things like doubt, anxiety, fear, they're pretty natural companions, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So these positive statements, when they're repeated and ideally internalized through that shadowing practice, they become a powerful way to reinforce what psychologists call a growth mindset.
The belief that you can improve.
The belief that your abilities aren't fixed, that they can be developed through dedication and hard work. They also build self-efficacy.
Which is?
Your belief in your own capacity to succeed in specific situations or accomplish a task. So by pairing the linguistic practice, learning the words and phrases with this kind of positive self-talk.
The program bridges the gap between language learning and personal development.
Exactly. It recognizes that confidence in yourself is just as important as confidence in the language you're learning, which again raises an important question for you, the listener. How does integrating this kind of motivational and cultural context amplify the impact of any educational program? And how might you proactively seek out that kind of enriching context in your own learning journeys, whatever the subject might be?
The grand design orchestrating a multi-hour learning experience.
Okay, so we've broken down all these incredible individual components. We've got the tiered vocabulary, the idioms, the phrasal verbs, the practical grammar pronunciation, the storytelling, quizzes, role plays, shadowing, cultural notes, affirmations. Phew.
It's a lot of moving parts.
It really is. But what truly seems to set this program apart, what makes it potentially so effective, is its intentional hour-by-hour progression. You mentioned it's designed as a 5-hour immersive experience. And the source material actually outlines a meticulously structured progression for the initial hours. This careful pacing must be absolutely key to preventing that information overload we talked about.
Absolutely.
While also ensuring thorough absorption and keeping motivation high. This is where the true genius of the overall design really shines through, isn't it? The architecture of the whole thing.
It really is. What's truly fascinating when you look at the sequence is the deliberate scaffolding we discussed earlier, but also the interleaving of different concepts and practice types.
Interleaving. What's that exactly?
Interleaving means mixing up different types of problems or topics during practice, rather than practicing one thing extensively before moving to the next. It feels harder in the moment, but it leads to much better long-term retention and flexibility.
Ah, okay. So they mix vocabulary, story, grammar, practice all together rather than doing, say, an hour of just vocab.
Precisely. And this comprehensive design, it demonstrates how a really well-structured learning path iteratively builds skills, reinforces knowledge, and crucially addresses both the cognitive side, acquiring knowledge and skills.
And what you call the affective domain.
Yes, the emotional and attitudinal aspects that motivate you, engage you, build your confidence. It's this holistic approach that ensures genuine transformation is possible.
It's not just throwing information at the learner and hoping some of it sticks.
Not at all. It's a thoughtfully guided journey, meticulously planned hour by hour to maximize retention, application, and that all-important learner engagement.
Okay, let's dive into that hour-by-hour breakdown then, because seeing how these elements are sequenced really shows that brilliant instructional design in action. So hour 1, the foundation. It starts logically with a welcoming message and immediately introduces the core theme. I quit my comfort zone.
Setting the stage.
Yeah, and it defines what a comfort zone actually is, using simple, relatable examples. This sounds like a perfect way to immediately engage the learner and establish why this matters to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This initial hour is all about priming the learner, getting them ready, and establishing immediate relevance. By defining the comfort zone early, grounding it in simple examples, the program makes sure the learner understands the core concept and sees its personal significance right away.
And it keeps that initial cognitive load low.
Exactly. By starting with accessible concepts. Then, it strategically jumps into equipping learners with their first batch 30 core vocabulary words related to personal growth, confidence, emotions, maybe travel.
Using those effective repeat after me exercises we talked about.
Right. This front-loading of essential tools is critical for immediate engagement. It gives them the basic linguistic bricks they need for the journey ahead. They feel equipped, not empty-handed.
Okay, and then after the vocabulary, there's a short listening story. Emily encourages Jack to try something new.
Introducing the characters and the dynamic.
Right. And then it's followed by reflection questions for the listener themselves, like what makes you nervous? Wow, that's a brilliant way to connect the theme directly to the learner's own life. Makes it deeply personal right from the start.
Precisely. The introduction of Emily and Jack provides that human element, that relatability, embodying the core theme. But those reflection questions are crucial for internalizing the theme.
Getting you to think about yourself.
Yes, they activate your prior knowledge, they encourage self-assessment, making the learning personal and meaningful from the get-go. And that personal connection significantly boosts intrinsic motivation. You feel like this is for you.
And then they immediately dive into a practical grammar mini lesson. Using used to and I want to try in sentences.
Which, as we said, directly supports expressing that personal transition from past habits to future goals. Perfect timing.
And the hour concludes with a quick 5-question vocabulary quiz.
Immediately testing that initial foundation, reinforcing retrieval practice, checking if the bricks are solid before building higher.
Okay, that sounds like a really solid, motivating first hour. Then moving into hour 2. Narrative immersion and idiom focus. This is where Jack's motivational story really gets going.
Deeper into the narrative.
It narrates Jack deciding to try something outside his comfort zone, maybe traveling alone, joining a club, public speaking, and it does this in short, slow paragraphs.
Keeping it comprehensible.
And crucially, after each paragraph, there's a pause for listeners to shadow the sentences. This really feels like immersion, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. This hour deepens the narrative engagement through immersive learning. By narrating in these short, slow paragraphs, the program ensures comprehensibility while introducing the central story arc and the continuous shadowing practice.
Woven right into the story.
Woven throughout helps learners internalize that natural English rhythm and intonation. It reinforces pronunciation in a highly contextualized way, and because you're focused on the story, it feels quite low pressure.
Yeah, you're not just drilling pronunciation in isolation.
Exactly. It's a very organic way to build fluency while you're getting absorbed in the narrative. It makes learning feel less like work, more like an unfolding experience.
And then, right within this story, they introduce 10 key idioms and phrases about courage and risk-taking, like take the leap, face your fears.
Introducing them right when they're relevant.
Exactly. With shadowing practice again, repeated 3 times each. And then the hour ends with a listening comprehension quiz about part 1 of Jack's story.
And this integration of new idioms within the narrative is seamless and highly effective for what we call contextual acquisition. The idioms pop up when they are most relevant to what's happening in the story.
Making their meaning immediately clearer and more memorable.
Much more memorable than seeing them in an isolated list. And the quiz at the end ensures that learners are actively following Jack's journey, understanding the plot, reinforcing comprehension before they move on.
So this hour really balances that compelling storytelling with targeted language learning.
It effectively balances them, yeah. Making those abstract concepts like courage and risk-taking feel concrete and giving learners the words to express them. It's a prime example of that interleaving we mentioned, mixing story, vocab, pronunciation practice for maximum impact.
Okay, next up, hour 3. Overcoming challenges and dialogues with a grammar focus. So the story continues. Jack faces challenges.
The realistic part of the journey.
Right. And importantly, it introduces actual conversations between Jack and Emily. Listeners are encouraged to repeat each line of dialogue, first slowly, then at a natural pace. This really pushes learners into active participation, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This hour critically moves from more passive listening to active production and even problem solving through dialogue. The conversations between Jack and Emily provide these authentic contexts for language use.
Mimicking real-life interactions.
Pretty closely, yes. And the repetition of the dialogue lines, moving from slow to natural pace, that's vital for building conversational fluency, getting the intonation right, and transitioning that knowing about its knowledge into actually doing its fluency.
This is where learners start to really embody the language, maybe.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the design also cleverly incorporates social learning elements here. Even though you're listening to recordings, practicing with Jack and Emily provides a sense of having conversation partners.
Right, it feels less solitary. And the grammar mini lesson here shifts to those modal verbs, can, could, should, might.
For talking about confidence and possibilities.
And they use drill practice like, I can do it, you should try, it might be difficult.
And these modal verbs are just perfectly chosen for the theme, aren't they? They directly address that internal monologue you have and the external advice you might get when stepping out of your comfort zone.
Letting you express permission, ability, obligation, possibility.
All the key things. The drill practice solidifies their use in a practical, confidence-building context. And what's also insightful here, I think, is the inclusion of a cultural note.
About how people in different countries encourage each other.
Yeah, how they encourage stepping out of comfort zones. It adds that vital cross-cultural perspective again, broadening the learner's worldview beyond just the language itself.
And then the role play practice, where listeners actually act as Jack and then as Emily in different scenarios, that must be where it all comes together.
That's the culmination, allowing learners to actively apply and embody all the language learned so far, the vocab, idioms, grammar, modals, in a simulated interactive environment. Really powerful.
Okay, finally, for this initial block, we have hour 4. Deep practice listening, shadowing, and vocabulary expansion. This hour features 5 sample motivational mini-stories, maybe 1 or 2 minutes each, told in slow English, followed by comprehension questions. This sounds like it's designed for serious consolidation and practice.
Indeed. This hour is dedicated to intensive application, vocabulary expansion, and refining delivery. It's a period of focused, deliberate practice. Those additional mini-stories provide further contextual learning.
Seeing the theme from different angles.
Exactly. Solidifying understanding, building a broader mental model of what quitting the comfort zone looks like in various situations. And the comprehension questions ensure active listening and processing, serving as continuous low-stakes checks for understanding. Keeps them engaged.
And within this intensive practice hour, they introduce 20 more advanced words about determination, resilience, achievement.
Upping the ante linguistically.
Yeah. Along with 5 more phrasal verbs like step up, break through, carry on, again with practice repeating each in 3 example sentences. This must really push their linguistic boundaries at this point.
This is definitely where the depth of the vocabulary truly expands. It allows for much more sophisticated expression of those abstract concepts related to higher-level personal growth. And the phrasal verbs, as we keep saying, are crucial for natural English.
And practicing them in varied examples helps ensure flexible use.
Right, understanding the nuances and context. The strategic placement of these more challenging elements after a solid foundation has been built in the first 3 hours showcases really effective cognitive load management. They're ready for it now.
And progressive difficulty, it builds naturally.
It does. The repetition and application of these new terms directly reinforces that scaffolding we talked about, allowing for a natural progression towards greater mastery.
And to really solidify fluency, this hour includes extensive shadowing exercises. The narrator reads a full story slowly, then repeats it slightly faster, with the learner shadowing both times.
Multi-speed shadowing again.
Plus, pronunciation drills focusing specifically on stress and intonation in motivational sentences. And it culminates in a quick quiz matching the new vocabulary with meanings.
This entire 4th hour is just a powerhouse of active learning, isn't it? The multi-speed shadowing pushes learners towards more natural, fluent speech, promoting automaticity, making it effortless, and reducing the mental effort needed for production.
And the pronunciation drills fine-tune the delivery.
Fine-tuning the delivery of the motivational message itself, ensuring clarity and impact. And that final quiz serves as a critical checkpoint, reinforcing the expanded vocabulary and ensuring retention through targeted retrieval practice. It locks it in.
Wow.
So if we connect this whole hour-by-hour structure to the bigger picture, this comprehensive, multi-hour design really demonstrates how a well-structured learning path iteratively builds skills, reinforces knowledge layer by layer.
And addresses both the thinking part and the feeling part.
Both the cognitive and the affective domains, yes, ensuring genuine, lasting transformation is possible. It truly is a masterclass in how you engineer a really immersive and effective learning experience.
Whether it's for language or any other complex skill.
Exactly. Designed deliberately to guide you, step by step, out of your comfort zone.
It's genuinely incredible to see how deliberately everything is paced and connected. From individual words and phrases all the way up to full stories and active performance, it's not just a random collection of lessons.
No, not at all.
It's a meticulously engineered journey. Outro. Wow. Okay. We've really gone on quite a fascinating journey ourselves today, haven't we? Reflecting on how this deep dive into the structure of just one language learning program has actually revealed these universal principles for truly effective learning.
It's amazing how much is packed in there when you dissect it.
It really is. We've seen how combining those strong linguistic foundations with a compelling narrative, highly interactive practice, and a robust motivational framework, how that creates a truly immersive and potentially transformative experience. It's really a powerful testament to the impact of thoughtful, intentional design in education, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And this program, yes, it's framed as an English lesson, but is far more profoundly a blueprint for growth, for personal development.
Yeah, the principles go way beyond language.
They really do. It meticulously demonstrates that by systematically breaking down complex skills, whatever they are, providing varied and active practice opportunities, and crucially, fostering a positive, resilient mindset, any learner can be guided out of their comfort zone.
Whether that's in learning a language or maybe embracing a new career path, mastering a new hobby,
or even tackling a profound personal challenge. The underlying principles of effective instructional design, they remain the same. Knowledge is most valuable ultimately when it's understood and applied.
And this program's design seems laser-focused on ensuring precisely that.
It really does.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's maybe a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider. We've explored in detail how this program helps learners quit their comfort zone by building skills layer by careful layer. Now, what specific elements from this comprehensive approach? Maybe it's the tiered vocabulary, maybe the compelling narrative structure with Jack's journey, perhaps the interactive role plays, or the strategic grammar mini lessons, or even those powerful motivational affirmations. What element could you directly apply starting today?
Yeah, what resonates most with your current challenges?
Right. Apply to a new skill you're trying to master, or maybe a personal boundary you're hoping to push in your own life. Take just a moment right now, maybe pause after this, and consider what one small, intentional step you might take today
Just one small step.
to start implementing one of these powerful learning design principles into your own journey.